Well, good morning to you. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. Folks, unfortunately, this isn't clickbait. This isn't a video that I wanted to do. But after following all my self-imposed rules, there was no other way around it. I had a terrible experience at Love's. I have spoke with Love's management. It turns out the guy that I was having the problem with was actually a manager at that Love's. And so in this video, I'm going to tell you what happened. And by the time you're watching this video, I'm probably talking to corporate Love's about it as well. Before I do that though, you guys make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell so that you receive notifications when future videos come out. All right, folks, I'm going to cue up the music and jump right in. I'm even going to show you the receipt of the total transaction, and then I'll come back with some final thoughts. So y'all stay with me. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down, flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round for my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. So I was in Fort Worth getting loaded and was checking out my tires. I'd had one that I'd been kind of keeping my eye on for a while, and as I was checking it out, I noticed that you could see some wires on the tread coming through, kind of on the shoulder of the tire, just barely peeking through. I sent SRO Logistics Scott a couple of pictures of it, and he said, yeah, that could blow at any time. Don't like wires showing. Let's get that fixed. And this is nothing new for SRO Logistics. They're very safety minded. If you've got a concern or something, they're usually really good about, yeah, let's get that taken care of. So the main stipulation was we really needed to find a Love's because he's got a tire account with them and a charge account with them. And if we went somewhere outside of Love's, he would have to do a credit card over the phone. You know, a lot of shops with all the fraud and stuff going on these days, they don't like to do that. So I wasn't aware of any Love's in the area that had a shop like that. But I found one. Ironically, it was really, really close, about 7 or 8 miles away. I'm talking about the one on I-35W, exit 40 there in South Fort Worth. So I called them and they said, yeah, we're not real busy. There's one truck ahead of you. I said, well, it's still going to be a little bit before I can get over there. I'm still getting loaded, but I'll be there as quick as I can. When I got there, really cramped parking lot, and I mean really cramped, even for a Love's. Finally got a parking spot. Went in there. The service rider, his name is Courtney, said, hang on just a second. Alrighty, sorry about that, I'm back. His name is Courtney, said, hey Todd, you're in luck. Still only one truck ahead of you. Should be able to get to you pretty quick. I said, great, just call me when you're ready. I went out to my truck. Waited and waited, I mean like 2.5, 3 hours. And I called in, I said, hey Courtney, this is Todd from SRO Logistics. I was just checking. He said, yeah, we've still got the one truck ahead of you, and I've got another shift coming in about 30 minutes, so they're going to have to get you on that next shift. I've got the tech set to do you first when he comes in on that next shift. I said, all right, great. Well, it ended up being much longer than that, and kind of fast forwarding through the story a little bit just on this part. I went in the shop, and as I was sitting there listening, every single driver that called in or that came in there and asked It was, yeah, we got one truck ahead of you. It shouldn't be long. And that was false. As I was sitting there, I met a guy that had been there since 7 a.m. Here we are at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and they still hadn't finished his truck yet. And it was something simple. It was like 2 tires or something, or a tire, something real little. And so they were just misleading people right and left to get them to wait in line. And you know, had I known that that was going to be the case, Weatherford, the Petro there, is on my way home. It would have been a lot faster. And I know from past experience that they'll take a credit card over the phone. So I was already a little resentful that the Loves was lying about the wait times and things like that. But I thought, whatever, you know, shops lie. So we go to get me pulled in. I'm backtracking now a little bit. And we get pulled in, and I had told him left front outside trailer tire. They ended up asking me that 3 different times. And of course it wasn't deflated. I checked my tire pressures. I checked them again this morning. But they ended up, you know, making me go in the shop because they won't let you go in the waiting area. They won't let you watch, which I think is part of the problem, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they come back a little later and they say, Todd, we can't find nothing wrong with that tire. And I said, well, let me go out there and show you. And I had pictures on my phone and everything from what I sent Scott. And so I go out there and I say, well, they've pulled off both tires on that side. And I say, well, which one is the one that was on the inside? I'm not sure. I said, well, why'd you pull off the inside when the only one you're supposed to be messing with was the outside one? And he says, well, because we didn't see anything wrong with it. And so I showed him on the tire where the wires were. I showed him the pictures on my phone. He goes, okay, I see it. Well, then he goes in and Courtney tells Scott, there's nothing wrong with these tires, or nothing wrong with the outside tire, the one that I said the wires was showing. The ones that I'd showed them, the wires were showing. And he said, however, we think you need an inside tire. And he said, there's I don't remember what he said. There was a nail in the shoulder or something. For some reason, he thought they needed an inside tire. Oh, I know what it was. There was a slash across the tire. Well, he didn't know I'd already sent Scott a picture of the tire. There was no slash in the tire. Now, all of a sudden, there's a slash in the tire. And it's not very deep. It's a superficial slash. And honestly, I'll tell you, I don't know how you would duplicate that. Even hitting a pothole going down the highway at highway speeds, it would not have made a slash like that into the sidewall. Me personally, I believe they did it with a box cutter. But either way, they convinced Scott to, well, first of all, they told Scott, we want to replace that outside tire. Scott said, yeah, go ahead. I already know about it. Go ahead and do it. What they did, though, instead was replace both tires without Scott's authorization. So Scott's thinking he's going to pay for a left front outside tire when all of a sudden both of the left front tires are being replaced. And the story gets better. I said, I'm going to go inside the Loves and refill my mug. I'll be right back. I go in the store. I come back out, and they're crawling through my truck. I don't mean like looking at the tag on the door. I mean, they're going all through the inside of the cab of my truck. And you guys know, if you've ever been to a Loves, that they take your keys. They won't let you be in the truck while they work on it. They won't let you watch them work on it. They want you to wait in the waiting area or somewhere else. So I went up and I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing inside my truck? And he goes, oh, we're getting the VIN number. I said, no, you're not. I said, the VIN number's on the door. What are you doing in my truck? And he said, we're doing a an inspection. I said, why are you inspecting the truck if you're being hired to do a trailer tire? Oh, it's just what we do. And they're walking around. There's like two of them. One of them's going through the cab of the truck. One of them is going through like the outside of the truck, looking around, getting the plate number, all of that. And I didn't like that at all. And I made it known I didn't like that. Courtney, he said that that's just what they do. And so I decided to choose my battles. I wasn't going to do it, but I was making sure nothing was gone. I had a Nintendo Switch sitting in the front seat. I've got a tablet in there that my ELD's on. I've got several headsets. I've got a laptop. I don't like them being in the cab of the truck. I kind of wish trucks were like older vehicles used to be, where they had two keys, one for the door and one for the ignition. That way you could give them, one key, but they, you know what I mean? Something, because I don't like them being in the cab at all. Now, I don't mind them having an ignition key, but I don't want them in the cab. If they need the vent or something, first of all, my truck, you guys know, I like the Loves shop in Lubbock. I go there a lot. And so my truck information's already in the system. I get that they want to verify the VIN and everything, but I just found it real concerning that they were inside the truck. Now, you guys know my personal rule that I don't give out names without those people's permission. I have had, I've got written emails between me and Courtney where I explained to him my concerns and told him I was going to go to corporate with it. And so he's fully aware. I also told him I was going to make a video about it. He's fully aware. But the story gets better. They put it back together. At this point, I didn't know that they had done what they had done, the two tires. When we got done, I was like, wait a second, it shows two tires on here. And then they started hawing around. And I said, why did we do this? And they said, because Scott wanted two tires. And at this point, Courtney had already left. I said, no, I asked Courtney, and he said Scott wanted the outside tire and to only replace the valve stem if it needed it. And he's like, well, I don't know. It said two on here, so I did two. And so they called Scott, and Scott said, well, if I only agreed to the one tire, if there's another one bad, or, then I don't want it. If one's good and one's bad, I don't want to replace the good one. And the mechanic said, all right, we can switch it back. And so he was going to put the bad tire back on there, the one that the wires were showing. And so I got really upset at this point. And I said, no. I said, that's not going to work. And I heard him. He was talking to Scott on the phone. He says, I don't see the wires, after he had just told me he did. I said, well, let's go out there again. I'll show you again. So he tells Scott that what I'm seeing as wires is actually ice. Now, the problem with that is there was no ice out, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And let's say that there was ice in there. If ice can fit between the rubber, that's what you call separation of tread. When I took him out there, and I showed him, he's like, well, I just don't believe that's wires. And I'm like, well, they're silver, they're shiny, they're right here. And I said, but even if they're not, I said, DOT regulations say on a trailer tire, you've got to have 2/32 of tread across the whole tread width. And I said, stick your tread deal right here. He goes, well, I think it's 2/32. He checks it, it's 0.30. He goes, I guess you did need a tire. And I said, yeah. I said, now the problem is you've made me look like a fool to Scott when you're the fool that didn't know what he was doing. And of course he had a million excuses. Oh, this ain't my normal shop. I just come over here to help out. And of course, Courtney's not there. He's already gone home for the day. And so they ended up keeping both tires. Scott said, well, it's already done. Let's just leave both tires on there. And he would later tell me, hey, I want you to feel safe pulling my trailers. I'd rather, even though I only planned on buying one tire, I'd rather buy two if it made you feel safer driving it, and this way we don't have any concerns. But I was, the other thing they said when I was out there is they said, well, we can patch that other tire and it'll be good then. And I said, well, great. I said, now you've made it to where, or they said, no, we can't patch that tire. They said, what it is, it needs a patch. And I said, all right. I said, now you've made it where I've got to pay for the patch job. And they said, well, after we've looked at it, we can't patch it because it's too close to the shoulder. So you're going to have to get a new tire. I said, so now we've gone to where I'm going to have to buy that tire. You've just cost me $500 by your incompetence. And he goes, this is the thing that really upset me. This is the reason for this video. He says, oh, if I would have known the story, if I would have known you were paying for it, I would have wrote the ticket differently. Does anybody see the problem with that? The truth is the truth, whether I'm paying for it or whether Scott's paying for it. Why would he doctor a ticket to where it charges more if the company's paying for it? Well, the short answer is these techs get paid flag hours. And, I didn't want to do this video because, I'd had one about TA recently and their shenanigans. And here comes Loves going, hold my beer. And they do even worse than what TA did with that experience. So, anyway, let me show you the receipt. Let me show you what came out of all this. And then I'll come back with some final thoughts and tell you what I think a resolution should be and what I think they'll do. All right, bear with me. All righty, so here's the receipt. I want to read you these comments before we jump in, and I had to cover those up so some of the personal information wouldn't be out there. But on the front one, he put tractor tire replacement. Again, this was on the trailer, left front outside. He said left front outside tire on tractor is low tread, replace with, and he put the tire size. Again, that's a minor deal, but when you see this other stuff, it'll make a lot more sense. On page 2, which we'll get to page 2 here in a minute, he put complaint flat tire. I never complained about the tire being flat. The tire was not flat. And he put cause puncture near sidewall. Again, but the correction after that, he says tire unrepairable due to location of the puncture. Tire also had zero tread. So my question there is, why would you try to patch a tire that had zero tread? They're making my point without even realizing it. Also, earlier he had said that there was a nail in the tire, but that it did not puncture the tire. And that was obvious also by the tire not being flat when I got there. This is where he says he sees the slash in the tire. During courtesy inspection, inner tire on same axle was found to have sidewall damage. Both tires were replaced and torqued to spec. So there's a lot of CYA taking place here, people trying to cover their tails. And it's just really frustrating. All right, so it says the tech was named Chase. He put 2 tires at $469.99 a piece. They charged FET of $50.56. And then we had a tire disposal fee for 1 tire of $15. We had a mount and dismount for 2 tires of $44.99 a piece. We had an inside tire charge of $2.50. And we had a used casing credit of $25. Shop supplies was also on there for $4.62. And down here, this is something you can see at the bottom of the receipt is, hang on, just down here at the bottom. He did get the that it's the trailer, but on one tire, the left front outside, which is the one I originally went in for, he puts that the tread depth is at 0. This is also the same tire he wanted to patch. So why would you want to patch a tire at 0 tread depth? And then he's got the DOT numbers there of the old tire and the new tire. The other one, he says that the tread depth was at 3. This is the one that he claimed had that weird slash in the tread and on the sidewall. It was a real superficial scratch. It would have been fine to run with, but I can tell you, and I wish I would have posted a picture in here, that the tread depth was way more than 3. I'm gonna guess it was probably a 7 or an 8. I didn't check it because it was visibly way above 2/32 and way above 3/32. Anyway, though, into page 2 here, it brought the grand total to $1158.91. But listen to the comments here as well. He says that the complaint was a flat tire. I never said anything about a flat. The tires all had tire pressure. So let's talk about what should happen, and then I'll tell you what I think will happen. If Loves was an ethical company, and I think it varies by location. I think the one in Lubbock is very ethical. But if they were ethical, they're not supposed to charge you for anything you didn't authorize. So bare minimum, I think they should only be charging Scott for one tire, the one he originally requested. Now, what do I think will happen? And also, if they were ethical, they would give me some rewards points or something to kind of offset the wasted time, things like that. Now, that's La La Land. We all know that's not going to happen. I think best case scenario, I'll probably get an apology. Probably not from Courtney or directly from that shop. Corporate may apologize. They may have one of their bigwigs call me. But they don't care. They made a sale. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these truck shops. They know you're at their mercy. They charge flag hours, which is customary in the trucking world. And but the techs being paid commission and the service writer, Courtney, being the manager, they're all, the more they sell, the more they make. And so not just Loves, but the individuals. And so they're incentivized to stretch the truth, to bend the rules a little bit, similar to what truck drivers used to do when they would stretch their logbook, let's say, before ELDs and all of that. And I guess some of them still do it now. So, yeah, I think that we all know that not much is going to come out of this, and that's fine. But it'll allow me to warn you guys, if you're ever on I-35W in southern Fort Worth at exit 40, do not stop there. First of all, the parking lot's really, really crowded. You're going to have a hard time finding a parking place. I'm not just saying this because of what happened in the shop. The truck stop itself is trash. It's filthy. There's trash all over the parking lot. The shop is crooked and dishonest. And so just avoid that place at all costs. And I think you'll be better off for it. All right. This video went a lot longer than I expected it to. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.